Hi guys, today I am going to explain Rabid film. In the starting, we see a girl named Rose. She was a fashion designer, but her appearance was not good at all. There was a scar in his face, the teeth were also protruding, that's why Rose did not have confidence, she felt that she looked very ugly, and no one likes him, and maybe that's why people make fun of his, and do not like to be friends with his. But she was very good in work, and she used to make very beautiful designs. She was talented. One day, when she was going to his office, due to dog being on the way, there is a slight delay in reaching the office. But when she reaches the office, her boss gets angry on her. He gets very angry with her, and says that you look very ugly. And the designs you have are absolutely yours. Just as ugly. Hearing this, there are some people present there start laughing. But there was a girl, who was no joke at all. This girl's name is Jane, who is a model, and she is best friend of Rose, who loves Rose very much. Now lunchtime, when Rose having his lunch, a boy comes in front of her, whose name was Bread, and he asks Rose to go to the party. She is very surprising to hear, because before today some boy didn't even ask her to go to the party. Then her best friend Jane makes her understand, and that she shouldn't miss this opportunity, and you, wearing good clothes, should definitely go to the party with Bread. Now, we see at night, when Rose wearing very beautiful dress, comes to the party, where Rose talks a lot with Bread, and enjoys. But when she goes to the washroom she finds there, two girls are seen talking. Who talks about herself, was doing evil to him. Where she is saying, she looks so ugly, that no one like a boy like Bread does her. Will ask, but only at the behest of his best friend Jane, has asked Rose to attend the party today. She is surprised to hear this, and she feels very bad, so she to know the truth, comes straight to her friend Jane, and asks her, "Did Bread ask me to go to the party today, only on your request?" When asked, his friend tells, that yes it is true, but my intention, nothing was wrong, I just wanted you to be like everyone else. Enjoy your life. But Rose is very sad to hear this happens, and she comes out of the party, and takes her scooty home. She starts to leave, but then suddenly, she gets into an accident due to a car collision, where Rose gets injured a lot. Seeing this at her best friend is surprised, and he feels very sad, and she goes to Rose, takes it straight to the hospital where Rose has a lot of injuries. His whole body was plastered all over. After a week, Rose finally regains consciousness, and when her face, if the bandages are removed, then they see that there was no skin on one side of his face. Seeing Rose feels very bad, and she starts crying. Then Rose's best friend takes her to her house, and tells her that, because of you're not going to work for so long, the boss asked you, got fired. And anyway you need rest right now. You stay with me in my own house. Now when she used to be alone in the house, so she used to cry a lot seeing her face in the mirror, and her now starts to appreciate her old face, and she decides that she will find her old face by any means, and she will find her face will keep very well. When she searches on the net, she finds a clinic that could heal any injury. So Rose discusses with Jane about this clinic. Then Jane says that we should go to that clinic as soon as possible, and should get it done. In the next scene we see that both Rose and Jane already reached that clinic. But Rose, there was a lot of hesitation, was in getting checkup. Then Jane explains to Rose that you should get your treatment, because it makes her face better. Now the next, there is Rose operation, and we see that, in the operation theater, all the doctors and staff were wearing red clothes. A jelly type material sticks in the face of Rose. Let's give the one who was also doing the move. Now the Rose operation is over, and they come to their home. Now in the night when Rose's eyes open, so she quickly takes off her bandages, and that's it. Surprised to see that her face was completely cured, and this was looking very beautiful than before. Could not believe that this is true. She touches her face, and she was very happy, but only after that something in her body changes start happening. She was feeling very hungry, and she was not able to control it even after, due to which out of her room comes out where she finds a man in the swimming pool, bites, and the next day, she goes to the same doctor who had surgery on his face. There he told the doctor to feel his hunger. At the same time, she tells that last night she had told about someone. When a person is bitten, the doctor tells Rose what he saw. It's just his illusion, and nothing else. And after surgery, if you are hungry, then the one who gave you medicine in a red bottle, you have been drinking it, due to which you will also see a decrease in your appetite. On hearing this from the doctor, she gets relaxed, and by the way, even now his face was so beautiful, so she does not pay attention. She comes home and tells her best friend Jane. Shows her face here. Jane is also surprised to see Rose, because Rose was looking very beautiful, and now Rose was also confident, after which Rose and Jane had a party, where her boss also came, and he sees Rose. He is asked to join office once again, because Rose, she was looking very confident and very beautiful there. Rose likes a boy in the party, but she bites him. Now the next morning, when she opens her eyes, she sees that she was in her house, and there was no blood in her, and was engaged. Then she feels that maybe the doctor said absolutely right, and what happened last night was just his illusion. After that, she starts drinking her medicine. Now the next day we see the same boy is the one whom Rose had bitten last night, but he was not dead. Rather he had become infected, which had become very aggressive. And he was cutting people. In the same house when Rose making her designs, then she feels very hungry, but she sees that her medicines are over. Then she opens her freezes, where the raw meat was lying. When she tests him, she likes it, and she eats the whole meat. And even after this, the Rose hunger was not satisfied. So she's out of the house. She leaves, where she sees a man in the car. So that follows him, and she sits in his car, and she starts talking to the man. But his intentions were not good. Because she was feeling very hungry, and all of a sudden she bites that man, and eats it. When she wakes up again, she sees that she was in her house, and around her or her body, there wasn't even a trace of blood in it. But Rose was very upset, because she was not feeling all this illusion. So he contacted his doctor at the same time. But that doctor tells him again that this is a side effect of surgery. After which Rose in his office, and shows her designs to the boss, and these designs are very much liked by his boss. On the other, we see in the hospital, where that infection was spreading more rapidly, and people became aggressive, and cut each other. Here in the office, Brett comes near Rose and apologies to Rose. Asks for that night. Rose forgives him, after which, they both go to a restaurant, and there to talk to each other. But then Rose suddenly gets hungry very fast, and she felt like cutting the bread. But somehow she, controlling, comes to the washroom, and looks at her face. But she is surprised to see this, because inside his mouth, all the teeth started coming out, and a lot of blood in his mouth was engaged too. Here, the patients inside the hospital were going on increasing, but the doctors could not understand anything. What should they do about analyzing the behavior of patients? They come to know that it is a virus of zombie type, which, passing into each other by bites, and when infected, there is a strong hunger for eating raw meat, and because of this, bites people, and in this way this infection grows rapidly. Here we see Rose, who was suffering from hunger, and she falls in the road. Seeing this, a man comes to her to help, but then the strange type of tentacle from Rose's body come out, and she kills the man. After that, we see her sleeping at his house. Rose has a dream, in which she sees a lady with nurses all around, and she nurses to the face off that lady, which was very bad, with cloth, and with this, the Rose sleep is opened, and she sees that, even today she was on her bed, and no traces of blood, nor were there any teeth inside his mouth. But Rose feels very hungry, so she drinks his serum, which is given to her by the doctor. But while drinking it, the bottle of that serum comes down from the hands of Rose, falls, and she sees that there is human blood. Despite this, Rose, by ignoring these things, comes to her office, where she designs the dress, and the dress was exactly what Rose had given to a lady in her dream. Her boss is very happy to see this dress, and asks Rose to display her dress. Now when that day comes, Rose was also there. But then Rose gets a call from the doctor, who tells him to come to him as soon as possible. But Rose refuses the doctor, saying that today she is work. Then Rose goes to see his friend Jane, where Jane had arrived, and she tells Rose that, as he was late because there was a traffic jam, and a lady also has bitten in his hand. And we understand here that Jane wasn't a normal lady bitten, but an infected lady. But then Rose gets hungry once again, and she falls in the ground. Only then two people come forward for Rose help. But seeing that, Rose kills them both. Brad leaves Rose from there, and he explains to Rose that she should visit your doctor, but Rose refuses, because her dress was just about to be displayed. Let's see that the fashion show had started, and where Rose's friend Jane becomes very aggressive, and starts attacking people. Then the army comes, and they kills Jane, after which Brad comes to the doctor with Rose. Here Rose was very sad that this virus has spread because of her. Then the doctor told Rose the truth that he intentionally infected her with this virus. And he locks both the Rose and the Brad in the same room. And he tells the Rose that, the Brad, you are understanding your friend, he was also involved in it, and I appointed him, so that he can spy on you. Here, Brad apologizes from Rose, and says that I have fallen in love with you too, but Rose, no one believes in the talk of Brad, and gets very angry. Then the doctor spills a lot of blood on the bread. Rose sees a creature in the same room, that was half human, and half creature. Here doctor tells Rose, that this is his wife, who had cancer, and she was going to die. Then she handed over his body to a creature. Here it is. The creature was so strong that it made his wife immortal. Here Rose was getting very angry with herself, because due to her, his best friend, and many people are infected. And to finish these things, first of all she kills the bread with her tentacles, after which she takes a knife, cuts all the tentacles of the doctor's wife, which doctor's wife starts dying, but that doctor does nothing, because he was outside the room, after which Rose cuts her throat herself with the same knife, so that she can eliminate this virus in this room. Since then the scene changes, and we see once again the same doctor, where the doctor grinds the blood in a mixer, and he had some tentacles. Both of these things comes to the same room, where we see that Rose was still alive, that is she too had become immortal, and now she'll be imprisoned in the same room. And the film ends here. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe my channel and like the video. Thanks for watching.